The president has been at odds with the intelligence community since it said the Russian government at the highest levels intentionally interfered in the 2016 election. Elaine, Mr. Trump eventually accepted that conclusion, but has alternately described U.S. intelligence agencies first as resorting to Nazi and now Russian tactics. And one other personnel note, Vice Admiral Robert Harward has been offered the job of National Security Advisor to replace General Flynn. He's negotiating with the White House, Elaine, but is expected to accept that offer.
And Major, just to follow up on that, is there any kind of time frame when we could expect him to actually take that position?
I'm told this is very close to being worked out. The main issue, and I'm not even sure it's an issue of disagreement, but it's an issue of understanding. Vice Admiral Harward wants to have, as you might well imagine, some significant say over the national security staff that would work under him and would work with him. That's something that's being negotiated with the White House now, and it could be wrapped up as early as this evening, tomorrow at the latest.
Well, he's, of course, coming into the job at a tumultuous time for the National Security Advisor, National Security Council, rather. Do you know, based on the conversations you've had with your sources, why the White House chose him over someone like acting National Security Advisor Kellogg?
Keith Kellogg is a respected figure within this White House. He was an advisor to candidate Trump, and he participated in a good deal of the conversations during the Trump transition. But he is regarded as someone who would not really be fit for an interagency coordinating job like the National Security Advisor. He will probably have some future role in a Trump administration, but he was asked, because of his familiarity with candidate Trump and now President Trump, to hold this position ever so briefly, and it appears it will be for a very brief time, maybe just a couple of days, while the president worked out his eventual national security advisor. And Keith Kellogg, though respected, not considered the best fit for a national security advisor role, which you have to have a strong personality, number one, because you're coordinating lots of activities for the White House with State Department, the CIA, other aspects of the intelligence community, and the Pentagon. That it requires someone with not only a strong personality, strong political skills, and strong organizational skills. But Elaine, everything I've just said was also true about retired General Michael Flynn, and there are many, even those who are friends and sympathizers with General Flynn, who would say the things I just described about the characteristics and the requirements of being an effective national security advisor, General Flynn was noticeably short of.
Meantime, Major, Senator Chuck Schumer is calling for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to recuse himself from any investigation into Flynn. Do we have a sense? What are the chances of that happening?
Almost zero. I would say positively zero. I believe the Attorney General has already made it clear he's not going to do that, because it impugns his ability to carry out an investigation should the Justice Department launch an investigation into this matter. And Senator Schumer's point is, when you look back at the history of the Trump campaign, his first Senate endorser was Republican Jeff Sessions of Alabama, and he was an active and avid supporter of the Trump campaign for many, many, many months. Senator Schumer's point is, would it actually be credible for the Justice Department, led by such an ardent advocate of candidate Trump and now President Trump, be the best person to oversee an investigation into a matter as sensitive as this one? Senator Schumer's conclusion is he wouldn't. Attorney General Sessions differs, and Attorney General Sessions, for the time being, will have the final word.
Finally, Major, the president's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, referred to reporters outside of Press Secretary Sean Spicer's office on Wednesday as the opposition party. I wonder, what do you make of such comments?
They're utterly consistent with Steve Bannon's appraisal of those who cover this White House, that the press is, if not the biggest enemy, certainly an enemy of this White House. And you don't need to have Steve Bannon say that in the corridor outside of Sean Spicer's office. You can just listen to the president speak as he did publicly in the East Room today, disparaging reporters and criticizing news he finds uncomfortable or that he dislikes as fake news. It is part and parcel of this White House's relationship, if you can call it that, with reporters duty-bound to cover its day-to-day activities. And there have been plenty of day-to-day activities. It's just worth pointing out that it was not the news media that fired General Flynn as National Security Advisor. It wasn't the news media that encouraged Labor Secretary nominee Andy Pudster to withdraw his nomination. Revelations about their conduct led to those decisions. That's how it works. But the president at times, and Steve Bannon certainly at other times, don't have, let us say, a generous appreciation of that.
Major Garrett, Major, thanks so much.
Sure.